Hey everybody, welcome to another installment of Fantasy Football Talk with your host and Commissioner Frankie. In this week's episode, I'll be looking back at what happened in Week 1, and also I'll be presenting the first trophies of the year. Alright, so let's get on to the headlines here. See, first we have team name change. For this one, I just kind of wanted to encourage all those league members out there who haven't changed their team name just yet to take a little bit of time and try to explore the possibility of a name change. Now, obviously, this is not required. It's just something that I thought would be fun. That way we can all have different, unique, and creative names. That way we don't just use the default settings from ESPN where you just have team and then your last name. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. It's fine. It's just, I think, a little more fun if you kind of create your own name and put your own kind of spin on it. Alright, so again, just a reminder there. Next headline we have here is a Week 1 recap. So this last week really had a lot to offer with some good matchups. We had a few breakout performances by some individual players. I think most notably I saw was the Jacksonville receiver. He's definitely going to be a hot pickup on waiver wire this week, so we'll see who ends up with them. But also, I'm excited to report that of the 12 league members, 9 scored in the 90s or above, with 3 teams actually breaking the triple-digit barrier. It's definitely not an easy feat, so congratulations to all those teams. Now remember though, just because your player scored X amount of points one week doesn't automatically mean you're going to score the same amount of points the next week. You always have to be on the lookout for matchups that best suit your own players, as well as checking the waiver wire for those diamonds in the rough. And remember, as a fantasy football guru once said, the key to victory is always staying one step ahead of your opponent. Alright, on to the next headline. So we have league standings. Now that Week 1's in the books, the season's first official league standings are out. And I have to say, I like them. As you now see scrolling below me, there you go. All 12 members have been ranked, with the top 3 spots going to teams that received a B+ or better on their draft report card. Remember though, these standings are going to change every week. So if you're near the top, don't get too comfortable there, because it's a long season and everyone's fighting for first place. Okay, going through this quick, I like it. Next we have the trophy presentation. Alright, so we have here the first trophies of the season. Now most weeks there will only be 2 trophies handed out, one for weekly point leader and one for weekly point loser. But since this is the first week, I will also be presenting the trophies for season's biggest win and the season's season's worst loss. Alright, first up we have season's worst loss. There you go. Now, this league member did have a tough first week, but like I said earlier, things are always changing and you never know when your luck can turn around. That being said, the season's worst loss so far goes to Kristen. Now, this is not a permanent trophy, and if later on in the season there's a matchup with a larger deficit, then this trophy will be reassigned to that losing team. So don't worry about it, Kristen, you're still doing good. Okay, now to award the season's biggest win. There you go. Now, this league member definitely had a great first week, and so far has established a dominant presence in the league. With an impressive 50-point victory, the season's biggest win so far goes to Ben Gordon. Congratulations, Ben. You earned it. Okay, third trophy. We have weekly point loser. There you go. Now again, these next 2 are going to be handed out every week. The first 2 are just going to be more of a whenever there's a bigger deficit lost. Okay, so weekly point loser. Now it was definitely a hard week for this league member too, especially when they're the only ones who started a defense that scored negative points. Because of that setback, I'm sorry to say that, Jason, you are the week's point loser. Again, your luck can change any moment, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Okay, here we go. Last up, weekly point leader. High risk, high reward. That's essentially what this team represents. And with that philosophy in mind, the point leader for week 1 goes to none other than myself. Thank you. No, I'm just playing. It was definitely a gamble using my first 3 draft picks on players from the same team, but for week 1, that gamble paid off big time. You know, it kind of worried me because the game was on Monday with the Detroit players, but still, they pulled it off, and definitely a big week. And that is all the trophies for week 1. You know what that means. It's time for the game of the week. God, here we go again. Never get used to that. Alright, so this week's matchup will feature TK and Madison in what can only be referred to as the Comeback Bowl. Now, unfortunately, week 1 was not good to either of these teams because both fell short of victory. However, redemption is just around the corner, and the winner of this matchup will be right back in the driver's seat, while the loser will experience a devastating 0-2 start to the season. Good luck to both these teams. You're going to need it. And to all other league members, please let us know what you think, who you think will win this week's matchup by voting for your favorite team in the League Manager poll on our Fantasy Football homepage. Alright, I think that's everything. So, definitely did good this week. A lot shorter than last week, which is definitely a plus. Okay, so good luck to everyone, and here's another great week of fantasy football.